On April 13, 2021, a 911 call led police to a home in Redding, California. Inside, they found the body of Mark McCandlish, a renowned aerospace illustrator and prominent UFO researcher. The Shasta County coroner's official report was swift and clear. By a self-inflicted shotgun blast to the head. A tragic end for a brilliant but troubled man. Case closed. But for McCandlish's friends, colleagues, and followers, the case was just beginning. They claimed Mark was not depressed and had everything to live for. More importantly, they claimed his death came just as he was preparing to reveal everything he knew. McCandlish was allegedly scheduled to provide testimony to the U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee about the government's biggest secret, a fully operational, reverse-engineered flying saucer. His death was ruled but a growing number of people believe it was a silencing. The story of Mark McCandlish isn't just about what he knew. It's about why that knowledge may have cost him his life. Before he was a leading voice in the UFO community, Mark McCandlish was the ultimate insider. He was an artist, but his canvases were the cutting edge of military technology. McCandlish was a highly respected conceptual illustrator, working for a who's who of the military-industrial complex: General Dynamics, Lockheed, Northrop, McDonnell Douglas, and Rockwell International. If America was building a next-generation weapon system, there's a good chance Mark McCandlish was the one drawing the blueprints and promotional art. His passion for aviation was lifelong, sparked by a childhood spent on Air Force bases. But his interest in unconventional aviation began in the winter of 1966. As a teenager at Westover Air Force Base, he watched a strange light hover silently over the facility's nuclear weapons storage area. He viewed it through his telescope for 10 minutes before it accelerated and vanished, gone like it had been fired out of a gun. That sighting planted a seed. For years, McCandlish balanced his professional life, illustrating classified projects for the Pentagon, with a private life, trying to understand the physics of what he saw that night. He had the technical knowledge, the artistic skill, and the security clearance to connect dots that others couldn't see. He moved comfortably in a world of secrets. Then, in 1988, a phone call from an old college friend would give him the biggest secret of all. The friend was Brad Sorensen. In November 1988, Sorensen attended an exclusive air show at Norton Air Force Base, an event meant for high-ranking military officials and cleared politicians. McCandlish was supposed to go with him, but had to cancel at the last minute for a work project. A week later, Brad called him. He sounded shaken, depressed. He told Mark, "I think I saw some things I wasn't supposed to see." According to Brad, during the show, he was escorted with a group of VIPs into a secure, guarded hangar. After a presentation on several advanced but conventional aircraft, a massive curtain was pulled back. Behind it, 3 flying saucers were hovering silently, a few feet off the hangar floor. No cables, no landing gear, no sound. A 3-star general took the podium and described the craft. He called them Alien Reproduction Vehicles, or ARVs. Their nickname was the Fluxliner. The general claimed the vehicles were capable of light speed or better. The smallest of the 3 craft, about 24 feet in diameter, had some of its exterior panels removed. An easel next to it displayed a cutaway diagram of its internal systems, and a video monitor played footage of the craft in action. Brad watched the saucer make 3 small, distinct hops over a dry lake bed, then accelerate straight up, disappearing from view in seconds. No sonic boom, no visible propulsion. Brad, a talented designer himself, memorized everything he could see: the layout, the components, the overall design. He knew Mark was the only person who would not only believe him, but could also understand and illustrate what he had witnessed. Mark listened intently as Brad described the ARV's inner workings. The design was surprisingly simple. A large capacitor array made of 48 individual sections formed the flat base of the craft. A central column, which the general had called the amplifier, ran through the middle. This column contained a vacuum chamber filled with mercury vapor and was surrounded by the secondary windings of a massive Tesla coil. The primary coil was a huge ring wrapped around the spherical crew compartment. The system was powered by zero-point energy. Based on Brad's detailed descriptions, Mark McCandlish put his formidable skills to work. He drafted a technical blueprint of the Fluxliner, calculating the dimensions, the angles, and the placement of every component. The result was one of the most famous and controversial illustrations in UFO history. He sent a copy to Brad for verification. The response was chilling. Brad told him, "Mark, this drawing is about as accurate as you can get. This has to be probably one of the most dangerous illustrations you've ever done in your life. If you're smart, you'll tear up the original, throw it away, and never talk about it again." Mark didn't tear it up. Instead, the blueprint became his life's work. He spent the next 3 decades researching the physics, talking to other witnesses, and trying to prove that the technology was real. He believed this system, capable of manipulating space-time itself, was the secret behind not just UFOs, but a hidden human space program. And that belief would eventually put him on a collision course with powerful forces who wanted that secret kept.
Seems obvious that someone, perhaps a group, maybe some kind of a rogue civilization within our society has captured the technology. They're exploiting it for their own aims, for their own interests, whatever those might be. There's not a sliver of doubt in my mind that it exists.
A couple different stories about people being shut down when they're trying to implement this thing.
Or killed. Yeah. I mean, there's many times I lay awake at night with my 9mm under my pillow, loaded, and I wonder why they haven't killed me. You know, I honestly do.
To understand why McCandlish's work was considered so dangerous, you have to understand the technology he was describing. The Fluxliner wasn't just a vehicle, it was a physics-breaking machine. The propulsion system was based on a principle known as the Biefeld-Brown effect, an idea dating back to the 1920s. The theory states that if you apply an extremely high voltage to an electrical capacitor, it will generate a thrust towards its positive pole, creating a form of levitation without any moving parts. It's been called Electrogavitics, or simply anti-gravity. McCandlish theorized that the ARV's massive Tesla coil generated millions of volts of electricity, which were then channeled into the 48-section capacitor array in the base. By precisely controlling which sections received power, a pilot could make the craft roll, pitch, yaw, and accelerate in any direction instantly.
Alien Reproduction Vehicle is that it's based on the study of extraterrestrial vehicles, but it is manufactured by human military intelligence, aerospace contracting arrangements. And this is very important. It means that we, Homo sapiens, have the ability to access this so-called zero-point field of energy, which is the ambient field of energy from which all matter and energy is fluxing, and can access that energy and generate all the power we need to run this planet without fossil fuels or pollution.
But levitation was only part of the equation. The true secret, McCandlish believed, was mass cancellation. The central column's mercury plasma vortex, spinning at incredible speeds in a powerful electromagnetic field, didn't just generate energy. It tapped into the fabric of space-time itself. It created a bubble, a distortion that effectively reduced the craft's mass to near zero. This explains the impossible physics reported in UFO sightings. With no inertia, A craft can accelerate from a dead stop to thousands of miles per hour instantly. It can make right-angled turns that would turn a human pilot and a conventional aircraft into scrap metal. And with no mass to displace the air in front of it, it creates no sonic boom. It moves in utter silence. For over 30 years, Mark McCandlish presented this research at conferences and in interviews. He wasn't just another UFO enthusiast. He was a technical expert with a plausible physics-based model for how these craft worked. He was connecting the dots between obscure patents, eyewitness testimony, and black-budget technology.
Inter-office correspondence among defense contractors that openly stated that they felt the technology was a fundamental enabling technology, that it had all kinds of different defense applications, but it also had a lot of serious civilian applications that would be beneficial to humanity as a whole, to the environment.
Obtained photographs that were taken in 1967 by a military pilot, Harvey Williams, flying a C-47 for the Air Force at 12,000 feet, approximately 25 miles southwest of Provo, Utah. This particular vehicle matches the so-called ARV in all proportions and respects in terms of the detail of the shape of the craft.
And in the spring of 2021, some believe he was about to connect those dots for the most powerful people in Washington. In the weeks leading up to his death, friends said Mark was energized, not depressed. He was working on a documentary, and more importantly, he believed he was on the verge of the biggest breakthrough of his life. The conversation around unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, had gone mainstream. The Pentagon was releasing videos. Congress was demanding answers. According to researchers like Kerry Cassidy of Project Camelot, McCandlish had reached out to Senator Marco Rubio's office. Rubio, then the vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, was a key figure in the push for UAP transparency. The claim is that McCandlish offered to provide the committee with everything he knew: the names, the locations, the physics, and the proof of a secret space program that had been operating for decades. He was allegedly scheduled to testify. Then, on April 13th, he was found dead. The official story from the Shasta County coroner is straightforward. McCandlish took his own life. Note was reportedly found, and some accounts mention a history of financial struggles and depression. But those who knew him paint a very different picture. They insist he was in good spirits, excited about the future, and absolutely not. To them, the scene didn't add up. They questioned the forensics, the motive, and the timing. Why would a man on the verge of achieving his life's goal of official disclosure suddenly end his own life? To his supporters, the answer was obvious. He wouldn't. They believe powerful people, the same people who have guarded the UFO secret for over 70 years, decided that Mark McCandlish talking to the Senate was a threat that could not be tolerated. The official report said his community cried murder. So we have the suspicious death of a credible UFO researcher coming just as he was allegedly about to blow the whistle to the U.S. Senate. It's a story of high-tech secrets, deep state conspiracies, and the ultimate price of speaking truth to power. But is it true? Let's break it down. First, Mark McCandlish was absolutely the real deal as an aerospace illustrator. His credentials are verifiable. He did work for top defense contractors, and his technical knowledge was genuine. This isn't a random person making wild claims. He was an industry professional who brought a unique level of technical credibility to the UFO subject. The ARV blueprint is a masterwork of conceptual design. whether it depicts a real craft or not. But here's the first major problem. The entire ARV story, the foundation of McCandlish's life's work, is a second-hand account. The sole witness to the craft at Norton Air Force Base was Brad Sorensen. McCandlish never saw it himself. He was a brilliant interpreter and illustrator of another person's story. Despite decades of searching, no other first-hand witness from that alleged 1988 event has ever come forward. No photographs, no documents, nothing but Brad Sorensen's memory, filtered through Mark McCandlish. Now, what about the most explosive claim? That McCandlish was scheduled to testify before the Senate Intelligence Committee. This is the centerpiece of the murder theory, and unfortunately, it's the weakest part of the story. The claim originates entirely from within the UFO community. There is zero official confirmation from Senator Rubio's office, from the Senate Intelligence Committee, or from any other government body. There are no leaked emails, no schedules, no documents to support it. While it's possible such a meeting would be kept off the books, without a shred of evidence, it remains pure speculation. It's a powerful motive for a murder plot, but it's a motive that may not have existed. This brings us to his death. The official ruling is Can we dispute it? His friends and supporters certainly do. They argue the timing is too convenient, the method too strange, and his mental state too positive. They point to a pattern of mysterious deaths among UFO researchers. And it's true. The idea of a cleanup crew silencing witnesses is a long-standing theme in ufology. However, the counter-evidence, while less sensational, cannot be ignored. The coroner, an official body, ruled it a suicide. People close to Mark, while supporting his work, have sometimes acknowledged his battles with financial hardship and periods of depression, conditions that are leading risk factors for suicide. The tragedy is that both things can be true. Mark could have been a brilliant researcher on the verge of a breakthrough, and a man struggling with profound personal demons. The world is rarely black and white. So, is it a hoax? A murder? I don't think it's either. I think the truth is more complex and far more tragic. What if Mark McCandlish was neither a prophet nor a liar? What if he was a pawn? Consider the world he operated in. For decades, the intelligence community has used the UFO phenomenon as a cover for their own advanced technology. They've also used it as a tool for psychological warfare. We've seen this in the Majestic 12 documents. Disinformation isn't just about spreading lies. It's about mixing truth with fiction to confuse your adversaries and to discredit genuine researchers. What if the story of the ARV wasn't a real event, but a carefully crafted piece of disinformation fed to Brad Sorensen? What if the military wanted that story out by creating a fantastic narrative about a reverse-engineered flying saucer? They create the perfect cover for real, but less exotic, advanced aircraft like the Aurora or the B-2. They also create a story so unbelievable that it automatically discredits anyone who repeats it. In this scenario, Mark McCandlish becomes a tragic figure, a man of immense talent and integrity who dedicated his life to chasing a truth that was, in fact, a carefully constructed lie. He wasn't a victim of an assassination, but a victim of a decades-long psychological operation. The pressure of living in that world, the paranoia, the constant search for a truth that was always just out of reach, coupled with real-world financial and personal struggles, could have easily led to a tragic outcome. His death may not have been a direct silencing, but a consequence of a lifetime spent navigating a wilderness of mirrors, a battleground where the truth is the first casualty. The story of Mark McCandlish is a cautionary tale about the search for truth in a world built on secrets. We all want to believe, We want to believe that they're heroes like Mark who can pull back the curtain and expose the hidden realities of our world. But that search is a dangerous one, not just because of shadowy assassins in black suits, but because the very information we seek can be turned into a weapon against us. The greatest trick the secret keepers ever pulled wasn't hiding the truth, it was making the truth radioactive. They took the UFO subject and poisoned it with disinformation, ridicule, and manufactured hoaxes. They created a maze with no exit, designed to trap and neutralize anyone who gets too close. Was Mark McCandlish a prophet who saw the future of technology? Or was he a pawn, expertly guided by unseen hands? We may never know for sure. What we do know is that he was a brilliant artist and a relentless investigator who dared to ask the biggest questions. He paid a high price for that curiosity. His life was a testament to the idea that some secrets are so profound they can shape a person's destiny. And sometimes they can destroy it. Mark's legacy is not just the blueprint of a flying saucer. It is a warning. It's a warning that in the fight for disclosure, the line between being a whistleblower and being a victim of the very conspiracy you're trying to expose is dangerously thin. The world of shadows consumes those who stare into it for too long. Whether by a deliberate act or by the slow grind of psychological warfare, the outcome is the same: silence. If you found this case as compelling as I did, the most powerful thing you can do is engage with this video. Every like, every comment, and every subscription sends a signal to the algorithm.